Welcome, everybody. This is the Making a Difference show, and I'm your host, Jon Heymann. And I'm excited to have Jen Cart with me from the Stellar Growth Strategies. She started this company. It's very unique. So, Jen, it's great to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about your new company.
So I basically work to build sales for small and medium-sized businesses to help them if they're having any type of sales pain. So maybe their revenue has flattened or maybe declined, or even if they want to accelerate their growth, I can help them in their entire sales department, if you will. It doesn't have to be a defined department, but anything with regard to sales processes, procedures, et cetera, I can help them bring that to the next level.
So you coach them, so to speak. You don't necessarily do the sales for them. Is that correct?
So I do the work for them. I implement the work. I don't go into the field and do their selling for them, but I don't just consult. So it's not like I tell them what to do or how to do it. Okay. I tell them maybe what the issues are. A lot of times they know what the issues are, and they may even know some of the solutions, which is great. But I can just help them format that and form that into a better process and procedure so that they can move forward in their business. So, I do implement a lot of the work for them, which is a real big relief for businesses that are usually wearing so many different hats and have so many different things going on.
So in your world, your coaching, consulting, helping salespeople world, they're expecting that the sales increase beyond what it costs them to have you. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I expect that too.
Yeah.
And that's, that's my value. And also just not just getting them out of where they're at now, but, having that, the forward process beyond that so they can really, move forward in a quicker way. Yeah. Because a lot of times, they have their ideas, they start and they get going and they reach that kind of, every business does. They reach that kind of swirling moment of what next. And that's where I can come in. And I have a lot of experience from different businesses. So there's a fresh perspective that can come in, but also just the know-how that's very focused on all about sales.
That fresh pair of eyes is very important to companies. Tell me where you got your experience to be able to be an expert in this field.
Well, in Jacksonville, I started two of my own businesses straight out of college. Okay. So I kind of an entrepreneurial at heart. And so that's really why I had to go sell my own services. And I was a registered dietitian. I actually got my internship at Mayo Clinic and did that here with partners and then individually. And that's really where I, wasn't trained in sales, but, essentially had to go out there and talk to people to tell them what I do for them and what I could bring to the table. And then I was formally trained in pharmaceutical sales where you get the real formal process, medical device, and then clinical diagnostics. But that's where I climbed the leadership ladder, where I learned kind of the vice president of sales type of level. So it's beyond just selling and messaging and carrying the bag and talking to clients, but the real, more of the formal structure and the larger process that can make the company more successful for the future.
Do you ever have to recommend to like the top echelons, the C-suite, the CEO, do you ever have to recommend to them that a salesperson is perhaps not good at their job?
Yes.
Different personality, you need to find somebody else to fill that slot.
Yes, that's hard. I mean, it's a personnel assessment, and salespeople are very good at selling, right? They can sell inside as well as outside. And so their relationships happen a lot of times when a relationship with a salesperson, let's say the CEO or owner occurs, they like them. They're likable people, but sometimes they just, not always can get the job done. Yeah. But also, it may not always be that part of their performance. The performance can be driven by incentive compensation. And incentive compensation is one of those tricky areas where you want those behaviors of the salesperson to really align with the corporate objectives. And I would have to say that's probably one of the largest areas of opportunity in a business.
Yeah. Jen, do you ever find that time management is an issue as well with some of the salespeople? They have a great personality, but they're not managing their time very well?
Yes. You can spend a lot of time, like people say, well, I've been working all day. Well, they called and ordered the lunch. They went and picked up the lunch. They took the lunch to the office, and then they cleaned up after the lunch. All of those activities are not selling. The only time is selling is in front of that customer or that client. And so that's kind of part of the process that, with field rides and, making sure that they are working efficiently and effectively. So they're focusing their times in the right areas because they are typically out on their own. Sometimes you have internal salespeople that are in offices and they're, working the phones and things of that nature. It's a little bit easier to look at their productivity. But if they're out in the field, you kind of lose that productivity. And so their feedback as to what they're doing through, let's say, a CRM, where they're, client resource manager, where you're looking at where they're going, who they're talking to, that the owner or the CEO can really evaluate, or the sales leader, if they're large enough to have a sales leader, can really follow what they're doing to see how productive they are.
So from the top down, you're helping them sell their product or service to the community. I guess that's in a nutshell.
Yes, in a nutshell. I mean, a lot of times it's for the size of the business that I'm looking for, they've been selling and they're successful. Usually 2 million to 50 million in revenues. So they've made it, right. They're not in the red, but they've reached that sales pain where it's usually the structure, the process internally that they've kind of outgrown. Just say, hey, Bob, go out there and sell, or Sally, go out there and sell. They need to have more things in place to make sure they're measuring, monitoring, and having the right metrics in place, and goals and objectives and all of those types of things to set the stage for the future.
So you're an entrepreneur. You started your own company. If I was a CEO of a company that had multiple salespeople in, and I wanted to hire you, I'd also want to know if you are successful in your own company. What is the answer? Well,
yes, success can be defined in a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
I like to have fun.
I'm glad to hear that.
I really want to make sure that whoever I'm working with is finding a new way forward. Maybe they're so overwhelmed and they just need to have that little bit of a release or break because they're wearing so many hats in the organization. If things are set up properly and done right, that should be an automatic relief or release. But my success is truly defined as taking a business and leaving it in a much better place where they're literally hugging and thanking me, saying, thank you so much for helping me. It was worth it. And now they're just off to the races.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy of life, let alone business. So being an entrepreneur, what advice would you give to somebody who's considering or have just entered that world of starting something brand new in their life? What advice would you give them?
Well, sure. I mean, I have the opportunity to be a mentor and counselor with SCORE, which is an organization all over across the country where it helps small businesses and entrepreneurs who are wanting to go step out and into the world of business. And the best thing that I can say is, you have a dream, you wanted to see it to reality. Make sure that you have the right people and resources and things. Ask the right, ask questions, ask for help, because there's so many people out there that are willing to give their time and energy to help you be successful. And don't give up. If you truly believe in what you're doing, then you will persevere. And I tell myself that every day, and I'm excited every day to get up and go, do what I do.
Yeah. That's fantastic, Jen. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
You are truly making a difference, not just in your company, but also through that nonprofit SCORE.
Thank you.
I hope to have them on our show one of these days. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us today. We appreciate it. Take a look at the website at the bottom of your screen and contact Jen if you need her services. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.